Tonight, this is part of our series called Creative MBA. It's essentially having elite, like-minded individuals who are essentially experts at their craft coming into the house and giving their 2 cents on who they are, how they've become successful, their failures, everything in between, so that when it's your time and your turn, they're able to come through and you're able to dominate just like they did. I want to introduce Mr. Troy Carter Jr. He's going to be your moderator tonight. He's going to introduce everybody else that's coming up stage. Thank you, Troy.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. Yeah, thank y'all. First and foremost, I really appreciate everybody taking time out to come support us tonight. It means a lot, especially with everything going on in the world tonight. This is a safe space. It's all good vibes. I brought some real deal Philadelphians out, some top rank execs in the music industry, and we're here to be super intentional with the information that we give away tonight. With this panel format, we're gonna try something a little bit different. In the middle of our conversation, if anybody has a question, feel free to raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone over to you for you to ask that question in real time and get it answered. All I ask is that we focus on questions that are productive for the whole versus stating any opinions or anything that might be relevant at the moment. So use your discretion, but we want to make sure that everybody in this room is involved in the conversation. Without further ado, first and foremost, I'd like to bring out Shana Sherman. And Mont Brown. We got Mont Brown in the building as well, about to pop out. Everybody make some noise for our 5-star panelists here tonight. And just off the jump, if everybody doesn't mind, if you could raise your hand if you're like a music executive right now. Is there any executives in the building? All right, we got you. Are there any artists in the building? Okay, great. All right, and then anybody who's just curious to learn more about what the music industry has to offer? Okay, sounds good. So we know who we're playing to. Just to give you guys a little bit of background on myself, I started my career in music working at a distribution label called Human Resources. Since then, I work with a company called FaZe Clan where I served as a talent manager, and now I'm building Diamond Entertainment, which is a brand management and creative services company. So without further ado, we'll introduce Shana. If you could just give us a little bit of background on yourself, that would be great.
I'm Shana Sherman. I am from Blue Bell, Pennsylvania.
Hold on, can we double check her mic real quick? Let me see.
I am Shana Sherman. I am from Blue Bell, Pennsylvania, but everybody likes to say I'm from Philly, so I'll go with it for tonight. I work at Def Jam as the director of A&R, and I also head up a label called Stacker Star Records, where we have a joint venture with Def Jam.
You here. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna get it done.
Now. Try it now. Nope. Okay. Maybe not.
All right, so this is actually a comedy show. So this. Should we restart the mics real quick? Yeah, it's this conversation is too important for us to go any further without making sure that it's properly documented.
Yo. All right, there we go.
Mine works.
No, I'll just start with this and I'll pass it back and forth. But we're gonna go from left to right. But I want to ask you, Mont, how you got your start in the music industry.
I started out as an artist. I was an artist in Philly. Yes, Philly is a difficult place to get a start at. It's a lot of gatekeepers, but I was an artist, and what I did was I had a big record at the time, and Meek Mills was going on tour, and I jumped on the tour with Meek. And so you saying as how I get started at becoming an A&R, right? All right, so I went on tour with Meek, and as I was on tour, I started to learn about advertisement, investors, road managers, endorsement deals. I just started to learn about the industry. And for me personally, when I started to learn about the industry, I didn't want to be an artist no more. I wanted to be on the other side. For me, for an artist, I just ain't feeling no more. I fell out of love with being an artist, right? And then I seen how long an artist's career lasts. It's only a good 2 or 3 years. So for me, I figured I had a lot of resources and connections. I can help other artists from my city get in position, because at that time, it wasn't that many artists getting record deals. So what I did was create a festival called the Kickback Festival, where I would have every local artist come perform at Corsa. Corsa is a skateboard store in Philadelphia. So like it would be like Tierra Whack there, Armani White, Meek Mills, PNB Rock, Core, like just a bunch of Philly artists, and they will all come perform. So I started getting artists record deals. I had got an artist signed to Atlantic, Alamo, and then Columbia Records, and it just went from there. I felt like I hit my ceiling of being a manager, and I wanted to pursue becoming an A&R, which I did that.
Thank you for that, brother. And you the man. So, Shana, I understand that you started as an intern, and could you unpack that experience a little bit?
So I did not know what I wanted to do in the industry, so I took different avenues of interning. My first internship was in London. I interned for a company called Sirius UK, where I just did admin work, and we did jazz and contemporary music. From there, I thought I had a job offer at Epic Records in New York, but I actually didn't. So when I came back to the States, I did a few more internships, which led me into my job.
And what is your job now?
I'm the director of A&R at Def Jam right now.
Okay, let's clap it up for the director of A&R at Def Jam right now. Okay, and so are there any lessons that you learned during your internship that you feel like are still relevant today?
Well, number one, it wasn't an easy road. It wasn't like I just did the internship and I got the job. For me, what I realized in the industry is a lot of people who do have jobs or positions come from colleges with strong backgrounds or have the relationships. For me, I built a lot of my relationships from the ground up. So actually, as an intern, somebody called me and was like, hey, Maxwell's looking for an assistant. And I'm like, well, how do I get the job? I don't know if I have the credentials. I went to Maxwell's concert, and they're like, listen, honestly, if the guy likes you, you got the job. So I went to the concert, and Maxwell liked me, so I got the job. And then I've realized in this industry, you have to be really likable. You have to build your relationships. Like I said, you have to garner them. You have to make yourself accessible, and it'll grow and grow from there.
What were you doing during that time to build your relationships?
Everything. So basically, I started off as an assistant at a company called Benchmark Entertainment. Maxwell was looking for an assistant, so was the CEO of the company. So I was like, I kind of want a serious role, but I don't know what I want to do. So they're like, start here. This is your entry point. I took every single relationship, every single email, every single phone call that my boss essentially had and used it to my benefit. So basically, I took his Rolodex and I said, how can these people benefit me in my growth for the industry? My best friend is somewhere in the room. We started at Benchmark kind of together. She started a little bit before me. And she came to me and she's like, Shana, I want to manage. And I went to John and I was like, yo, we want to manage. She's like, do you know anything about being a manager? I said, shit, we're learning. So in the process of us learning, he gave us the opportunity to just go and do. So from there, I just took the knowledge that I gained from him and the knowledge that we gained from ourselves just being in the industry in the era of social media, and we built ourselves as managers. So we started managing our first artists together as assistants, and we used every single relationship that we got from both of our bosses and just went from there.
That's super dope. I think it's important to note how mindful we gotta be to like make far more deposits than we make withdrawals when it comes to building relationships off the jump, because in this industry, there's like everybody's busy and some people like are fake busy, but nonetheless, you have to figure out what they're prioritizing and add value to that situation so that they realize you're somebody who's worth keeping around. There we go, hold on.
What was your first major lesson as a manager? How would you speak to that journey?
You're not an expert. I feel like just as people, artists, managers, whoever in this industry, people think and we think we know it all. We're not an expert. We don't have the fucking answers at all. When we started managing our first artists, everything was just rolling in because we understood what was going on, but we didn't know what we were doing. So I think we got a little bit ahead of ourselves. And because opportunities came at us so fast, I think she got a little bit bigger than the time that passed. And it was like, okay, what's next? She didn't hit every milestone. In the first 6 months of us working, what do we do to grow her career as a manager? And it just got above us. So I think the biggest lesson that I learned is like, yo, it's okay for me to be like, I don't know. I'll help you figure it out, but I don't have the answer to that. And I'll try to figure it out, but if I don't know, don't judge me based on that. We're in this process together.
That's awesome. Thank you, by the way, because that was a great question. And so what I'll put out there, just so everybody has some context, me and Mont, we've been going strong for like 12 or 13 years now, just as far as our relationship. Mont has always been active in the city of Philadelphia. That's where I grew up. He used to have events, and at one of his events, I just picked up the microphone very similar to this and started hosting it, and he felt my energy, and whatever he had, if I was there, I would pick up the microphone and we would host it from then on out. So shout out to Mont for always being of the people in a real way, but clap it up for the bro. But the reason I bring it up is because of his platform that he referenced called The Kickback. It is a festival that has grown out of Philadelphia. He's had artists like P&B Rock perform on there and countless others. But I wanted to ask you, Mont, what was your intent when you started that platform?
I'm from Southwest Philadelphia, and we just ain't have shit. We ain't have nothing. And I knew I built up so many relationships from when I was an artist to when I was a manager. Even just a community leader, I had so many resources. I wanted to bring something to my neighborhood, for once. Instead of going downtown, half of the people can't even make it downtown where I'm from. So I would call P&B Rock, call Meek, call everybody, and everybody would pull up. And it's so much violence in Philly. I just wanted to cease the violence for that one day. In my side, I mean, I wish it could be the whole Philly, but at least in my neighborhood, we ain't had to worry about that. The kids could eat for free, the adults could eat for free, and give artists a platform to display their talent. Because I remember being that kid and ain't have no outlet, and when you don't have nowhere to channel that energy, it could go left. Like we see in the city now. So I feel like I had to do that. And at the end of the day, I'm just a big believer in God. This shit was destined. This was supposed to happen, Even me and Shana sitting here we was really outside. Like, we really wanted this shit. You know what I'm saying? This wasn't no internet shit. We just on TikTok. No, we was like, we really wanted this shit. And it shows because we sitting here, out of all the people in Philly, Delaware, and all that shit, we the people that's here because we wanted it more. And at the end of the day, that's what that shit is about, who wanted more. And not even to get on this, but like, I'm from a real place, right? And if I ain't picked this lane, Lord knows what it would have been. And I wasn't going to be a statistic in Philly. So one way or another, I was going to make it out of that shit. And I did that. But I knew it would take hard work and dedication and nothing else. I didn't care about parties. I didn't care about none of that shit. I care about making it right here to the seat today.
Mm-hmm. How many events do you think you've put together for the city of Philadelphia?
I don't even know. A lot.
Like
a lot.
Like
I
100.
I went
like,
broke behind that shit. That's what I'm saying.
And the reason I bring it up is because Mont recently got the key to the city of Philadelphia and is about to have his own. He has his own day. So he's got the key to the city. He's got his own day. But when in the timeline did you start to get that level of recognition?
I started like 2010, probably like 15. I had got an award from the White House and the Barack Obama administration. So like 2015, that's when that shit like really started.
That's great. No, that's great. And it's been super impactful, and I'm excited to see like where the next level of it goes.
But real quick, like, I'm proud of Shana though. Like, we like no, but like, bro, like, we came from that. Even though you say Bluebell, she from Philly. We came from nothing. Like, for real, in a real way. Like, we didn't have shit. It was no outlets. So to be here is major.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm happy to be sitting up on this panel with y'all. Okay, and Shana, can you talk to us a little bit about your experience from starting as an intern, like as a young woman in the industry, until now, and what that's been like for you?
I don't know. I really wish I could sit here and be like, yo, this has been peaches and cream. But like you said, we kind of came from the bottom. I'm from Bluebell, so nobody knows where that is. That's number one. Music is like, okay, what do you do? Nobody teaches you. Nobody lets you know that there's a million different lanes that you can take in it. And then it was also like, I'm as much as from Philly as we say, I'm not. So it's hard to be accepted in a place where they're like, this girl ain't come from here. Why is she here? We were at the Blockley and the Electric Factory and all of these events in Philly, and I'm just here like, hey, they like, what is going on? So it wasn't easy always, but what I realized, it was easier for me outside of the city. When I started to travel, I moved to New York. When I started building relationships and meeting different people who existed in the industry, I think my journey got a little bit easier. As a woman in the industry, I'd like to say it's getting a lot easier for us. But I think it's harder for women because women make it harder for women. It's not hard because the men are sexualizing us or they're not giving us the positions or the positions aren't there. I think that still exists, but only so much so. You know, I'm working in an industry right now where I feel like a lot of women are afraid of me getting ahead of them, where it's like, that's not what's going on here. We can exist in the same place at the same time. I have a lot of people that I consider my mentor and my sisters that have helped me in this industry, who tell me to go through the door before them. Go ahead, go in there, meet these people, take this route. You need the introduction, let me give it to you. And that's where I find that it's easier for me to get to where I'm going or take that next step in the industry when there are women like that exist. But there aren't a lot, so just being honest. Hate exists. And then that's another thing that I had to realize on my journey, where it's like, don't hate. Shana, stop being a fucking hater. Like, real life, why is she there and I'm here? Why did that happen for them and not me? Like Mont said before, it's all God's timing. When I was supposed to be here as a director, The guy that I met back in 2016 became the CEO, and he brought me in with him. So the time was going to come when the time came. It wasn't on me to be like, okay, I don't understand why this girl got promoted before me when I know that I'm putting the work in. I just know that I create these bonds, I allow them to exist, I speak things into fruition, and I go from there. And if it happens, it happens. I know that I'm putting the work in.
That's great. That's super important. And then how has it been as a mother?
My baby's somewhere out here.
Yeah.
My baby's
Alex
here.
running around here.
Alex
Alex about
is
4
here.
years old. Not to
Juicy
speak on
is
Shana's
here.
behalf, but she's doing a great job just continuing to advance her career while being a mom, which is something that a lot of people kind of underestimate. But I think it would be super important for everyone to hear from you yourself on how you make it work.
Do not put your life on hold for this industry. I was always told that me having a child would not be possible. When it happened, it was a miracle. It was probably one of the worst, hardest times in my life. But God said, this is what's about to happen, so I let it happen, and my life changed. But do not put your life on hold for this industry. My boss told me back in 2016, Shana, if people don't accept you, they don't accept your kids, then you don't need to be around them. So what I realized is when I had my child, I wasn't where I wanted to be in life, but in order to get him where he wanted to be, in order to get him in private school in LA, which is expensive, then I need to create and set goals for myself and reach them accordingly. So my son kind of just, I believe I'm in the position that I am today because of my son. It's like, oh, I want my son to go to Harvard Westlake. Oh, girl, you need to work a little bit harder. So if I need to work a little bit harder, I need that Harvard Westlake costs about $46,000 a semester. So if it costs $46,000 a semester, I need to be an EVP by next year. So guess what? I'm going to be an EVP somewhere by next year. I know I'm a partner right now at Stacker Starve, but there's a little bit more work that I need to do to get to where I'm going so that I can show my son that this is possible. So he's made my life in this industry a little bit easier. The balance is there. Like I said, I do everything for him. I think the actual job as an A&R itself and working with different artists and working with different personalities and the people that you work with is harder than actually being a parent. I control my son. You know, that's me right there. When you see him sitting down in the back, that's because he's obedient to his mother. So it's like, that's a lot different. In this industry, we're raising other people's kids. We're grooming artists to be and do what we want them to do, and that's a lot harder because I'm not their parent at the end of the day. So I'm blessed to be a mother in this industry, and I'm glad, like, 3 months out, my son went on the road on a tour, 43 cities with K. Michelle, and she allowed me to bring interviews with Nick Cannon, everything. Everybody was so accepting, like, wow, you're working, you're a mom, and I'm breastfeeding in the interview, and yes, this is what I have. I can't afford a sitter right now. Like, this is what I have to do. And I did it. And I have an amazing support system. My friends are great because they're the only ones who are out there with me. So they get a taste of the parent thing without being a parent. So I love it.
That's
Maybe
great.
when I get more money, I'll have a couple more. But as a single parent in this industry, we're doing our thing.
That's fire. No, and it's super important. What you said is, like, don't put your life on hold. And, like, I think you're a prime example that it can be done. I can't really speak for anybody, but from what I've observed, there's often women who are like, I'm just gonna wait until this and that, and like the time is never gonna be perfect. You know what I mean? So like I said, I think you're a great example of that. I'm gonna bring it back to Mont though for a second. So along the journey, Mont, you launched the Kickback. At which point did you become like a go-to person for artists in the community?
Shit. I felt like I was always a go-to person, period. Like, where I'm from, just life shit, you know. I had a son when I was 14, so I was always working. I was working at McDonald's, all that shit. So my homies ain't had no money, so I would lend money. So whatever it was, I was always there. I'm a natural giver. Like, I get somebody that shirt on my back right now. That's just how I'm cut. Like, so I was always that even before, like, the Kickback Festival. Always want to help out. That's why my clothing line called Community Service.
No, that's super important. And so, like, as a real friend of mine, I've kind of seen his journey firsthand. And what I'm really trying to get at is, like, how he positioned himself to even become an A&R. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but from the kickbacks, you end up, signing multiple artists from Philadelphia who you put in life-changing situations. But how did you leverage you being the liaison between most of the artists from Philadelphia and the major record label system into a position for yourself as an A&R?
Like, I'm gonna just try to make that shit short because this is long as shit. It's like what Shana said, like, it's just relationships. So my cousin Kenny Brick, he had a job at the airport, and he was like, "Yo, you can fly for free, and they make money." So I'm like, "Shit." This when I was an artist, and I'm just how I build my relationships. I'm like, "Well, shit, a free flight. I go to Miami, Atlanta, T.I., and I'm doing a party." So I got the job. I started flying for free.
Got the job
at the airport.
Okay.
U.S. Airways. I was like 18, 19. No more McDonald's. Like, bossed up. Right. We at the airport. So that shit was like, nigga, coming true religions. It's different. The money coming different. I'm doing overtime. It's just different. So Currency, the hospital, I met him at the airport. And he's like, "Hey, come to Atlanta." So I start going to Atlanta. I start going to New York. New York and Miami. So on my journey, I met so many people. So when it was time to be a manager, it was already there. But we got to humble ourselves too. Like me and you be talking about like the new generation, like their algorithm is like wired. Like they think they something that they really not because of fucking views and shit. So at that time, I'm in Philly. I feel like I'm lit. I go to Atlanta to DJ Drama Studio. Nobody know me. But my homegirl was working there, and I'm like, "Damn, I'm from Philly. Like, they don't know me." No. So what I did, I stayed there. I literally slept on Drama's studio floor. And it's like a true story. When Jack Harlow was like just a white kid who just could fucking rap, I was sleeping on the floor and on a beanbag in his studio sessions. I knew I didn't want to be in Philly no more, and I had to figure this shit out. So build that relationship with Drama, Cannon, and that's not the only studio floor I slept on. Like, I really put the work in. Out here, like, I was like, all right, I did my Atlanta run. I'm cool with those guys. Let me go to LA. Did the same thing to LA. This one, it wasn't even no Uber. It was taxis. I was coming here, and my cousin Bubonic sleeping in him and Rich Hilfiger garage. Our Philly Swing, he's a Philly artist. He would record, and I would pay like the extra money to sleep in the studio, trying to figure that shit out, because that's just how bad I wanted to make it. And I knew if I get on, because I got a Pearl Heart, if I get on, I know what I could do. I know I could reach back and help others in a real way, and not just like spoon feed them. No, like put somebody in position and move out the way. And Yair, he in here somewhere, Box Boys, we did that, right? On tour, 18 years old, yo, I'm homeless, I don't got no money. All right, bet. When we get off tour, I'm gonna get you a deal with Live Nation. Did that happen? And I got out the way. So that's what we gotta do. We gotta get out the way, stop gatekeeping, stop spoon feeding each other. Nah, get out the way. So I believe in that. When I get artist deals, I get out the way. I don't want nothing to do with it. You go ahead. Because God put me in this position for a real reason. He put Shana in this position for a real reason, outside of being talented, a dope mom, a great heart. And that's what it boils you down to. Mm-hmm. And we gotta like leave something, we gotta leave something tangible for them too. Everything I do, every event I do, they there. I got them. They don't even know it yet, but like I got y'all. Just a matter of time.
So speaking super practically without getting into names, because I'm recalling like a very specific conversation that we had. You had an artist, he was signed to a label. This is around the time like you and I, we meeting at the parlor on Melrose, and you like, "Bro, I want this position, and I'm gonna get it." You know what I mean? Well before you got it. But how did you leverage your initial relationship with the artist as management and parlay that with the label they're signed to and get you a A&R position at that label?
I think everybody road to becoming a exec, everybody have a different path. I feel like you gotta know your strengths and you gotta know your weaknesses, right? So for me, I was already going back and forth to New York, and at this time, Meek Mills wanted to bring me on as an A&R. I already had the relationship with Columbia Records. I had the relationship with a lot of record labels. So I had to figure this shit out. Like, how do I separate myself from everyone in the room? One thing for sure, two things for certain. No rapper could dress better than me. Like, that's not even a thing, right? So I know that's like my strength. I know I could dress and I know I could get girls in the studio. So, like, you have to do something. You're not just gonna be around, like, just chilling. So I'm bringing the girls in the studio and I'm the flyest person there. I was like, who is this? So that caught the attention of, like, a Columbia Records, like, okay, like, you a manager, but it's like, you come off bigger than an artist, right? And I can't even make this up. So I built that relationship with the EVP of the label, and I just called him. How you feel about me being an A&R? You are an A&R already. You just missing the job. And I built that relationship, and you just gotta be a good person, right? I met Tubby, Sean Holiday. He the one that put me in position. It was simple. Fly to LA, you got the job. And at this time, I'm good. I got a condo in Philly. I'm good. Like, I was on the first thing smoking. I left everything. I ain't even pay the rent. I did. I got out of there. The first thing smoking. And it's God, because it was on my birthday. January 22nd, I was in LA. $8,000 in my pocket, sleeping on my homegirl couch. And that's how it happened.
Yeah, that's great. Like, that's super important. And, like, one of the things you kind of just alluded to that I think is worth putting out there is, like, from an executive standpoint, you have to know how to manage your relationship with your client as well, because it's something that I see often and something that, like, I experience myself. But, like, even as a manager, you gotta recognize when you and your lane are bigger than your client and their lane. Like, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think, too, like, it's a lot to my story, but even, like, on my journey, I never forgotten the people that helped me along the way. Like, someone who helped me along the way is, like, Gilly the Kid. So, and that was probably, like, in 2010, but till this day, every year on the year, I call him at least twice to say thank you for what he did for me in 2010. Because it means something to me. And I'm an honorable person like that. So it don't matter. It's like the relationship is the key. Ain't no way around it. Like, even with DJ Drama or Canna or Uzi, whoever, if it's their birthdays, yo, bro, happy birthday. If something happened in the tabloids and something bad, yo, bro, I'm cheering for you. I'm in your corner. Just the little shit. The little shit.
being genuine.
I think that's a big part that people are missing in this industry, gratitude. Like, we're here, we made it, apparently, allegedly, but, like, a lot of people forget that, like, we're human and there's gratitude. Like, the other day, I said, Tunji, CEO of Def Jam, he's my boss at the end of the day. I looked at him, I said, bro, thank you. He said, for what? I said, you gave me a job and an opportunity, right? You literally gave me a job and you gave me an opportunity. He said, Shana, I've been at this job for 2 years. Nobody has said thank you. Simple gratitude, and like he said, Gilly, Wallow, you can call these men at any point and say, I need, can you help? And they'll raise their hand and say, I can't do that, but somebody else can. And I don't know if that's a Philly thing or if that's, you know, everywhere that exists, but I know where we come from. That's the thing, that if you reach your hand back, you like, yo, bro, 5 years ago you had me, remember that? Oh, shit, you remember that? Thank you. That's all it takes. Then an opportunity is right there at your fingertips, and people are wondering, how did that happen? How are you in this room? Why are you there? Gratitude.
100%.
That's super important.
100%.
We're going to answer your question now.
There you Hello. It sounds like both of you guys are like very self-motivated, but also obviously have been touched by quite a few people. So I was wondering if there's any people at different stages of your career you kind of modeled yourself after or took inspiration that helped you kind of go through these different stages.
John, if you see this video, you're an asshole, and I'm an asshole just like him. My boss, when I first got my job at Benchmark, first day at work, we're on the BET Soul Awards, and all of our artists on the roster are on the show, and they're sold out of hotels. Shana, you better give me a motherfucking room at the hotel. I'm like, bro, they sold out. What do you want me to do? Figure it out. I called my dad crying. I'm like, Daddy, this is my first day at work. He talking about figure it out. He said, call Deborah. You want me to call the head of BET to get you a hotel room? Sounds crazy. You better figure it out or you won't have a job tomorrow. I was like, Daddy, I'm going to get fired on first day. He said, I don't know you to cry. My dad doesn't know me to cry, and I know you to figure it out, so figure it out. So I'm like, all right, I guess I get Deborah on the phone. From that point on, nobody can ask me anything. You got to figure it out. We got Google, we got resources, we got relationships. The roadmap is literally right in front of us. There is nothing we can't figure it out. It's not like we back in 1999 and we just can't. It's not at our fingertips. There is somebody you can call and figure it out. That's it. When people look at me, they're like, Shana, she's mean. She just told me to figure it out. Figure it out. I had to figure out how to buy this man a boat. I'm a black girl. I don't know nothing about boats. I'm buying a 20-foot Robalo. Figure it the fuck out. It's as simple as that. So I think that is my greatest lesson in this industry. When it comes to asking questions, when it comes to doing anything, if I can't figure it out, that means I really need you. That means I really have nowhere to turn, and I didn't exhausted everything I could possibly exhaust because I could not figure it out. But the chances of that happening are slim to none because you're going to be able to figure it out. So I think that's what exemplifies me as a person, where I'm like, everybody who calls me, they're going to be like, yo, Beyonce, what do I got to do with Beyonce? You just know I'm going to figure it out. You know I'm going to know somebody to know somebody to know somebody to figure it out for you. So I think that's my answer to your question. That's my first boss.
How about you, Mont?
Say it one more time so I can answer it like.
As you were coming up as an executive, were there people that you modeled yourself after or studied and paid attention to kind of learn from?
Like on an exec level or just like life period?
Both actually, both.
Shit, I knew I ain't want to be none of them dudes around my way, for sure. But I'm inspired by a lot of people, like, you know, like your dad is like, I'm just totally inspired by your dad coming from our neighborhood to making it, you know, where he is now and doing so many amazing things. But I'm a sponge. When they say like it take a village, it took a village to build me up. From Kenny Gamble to Gilly, the conversations with Wallow, to everyone. Like everybody poured into me, not because I was just like this cool Philly kid, no, because I want this shit. And that's my whole, really, my point to y'all. Like, my shit is like, stop playing. Like, if you gonna do this shit, do this shit. Because we got one life to live. So, like, if I'm moving, I don't got time to talk, nigga, I'm doing shit. I'm busy. Like, bro, like, I can't say it enough. We got one life to live. We get 24 hours. What you doing with yours? Because I know what I'm doing with mine. So, like, that's been my motivation. I had a son when I was 14. I don't got time to be playing. I don't care about who talking about, who doing what. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I care about making it. That's it. So, like, and by the way, my dad got killed when I was 4. My mom did 24 years in jail. I don't got time for none of this shit. I got nieces, nephews. I got 8 brothers and sisters. My life is real. I don't got time to be playing with nobody. So that's my motivation.
That's super important. And like to anybody out there who listening though, like if nothing else, just don't let nobody play with you and understand that it's cool to fall back from people, cut anything off that's not in line with the direction you want to take yourself for sure. I want to ask y'all, what do y'all think it takes to be a good mentee?
Okay, I think I used this example like in one of these interviews I did before. But when I was first starting in the industry, I don't know if Vivian is here or not, but when I was first starting in the industry, I'm good at the social media stuff. I'm good at emails. I'm good at putting words together. I could talk, okay? So I literally would just email people. I'm emailing everybody. If I got your email, I was emailing you. But what I realized is I wasn't saying anything. Like, hi, I'm Shana. I want to be in the industry. Okay. Like, so as a good mentee, I had to make myself a necessity to my mentor. What can you do for me? What are you bringing to the table? Who do you know? What resources do you have? What can you do that I can't do? And I think that's what made me a good mentee, because the stuff that essentially they're like, I don't have time to do, or I can't reach out to this person, or this person's not answering. I'm like, let me figure out how to do it. So that you're looking at me like, damn, you did that? Yeah, I did. I got that. So I think it's making yourself needed in any room and in any situation.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's like when when you got someone like a Tubby or a Tunji, you just figure out the little shit they need. It might be a coffee, a Starbucks or some shit. Just go get it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I feel like when we was coming up, I would go to fucking Africa to get a job done. I feel like this generation is just like, I don't know, it's different from ours. They don't really want to work hard for shit. It's just like, nah, I'm going to just put this shit on TikTok, and if it go, it go. If it don't, then I do some shit tomorrow. We ain't had that shit like that. We had to really go get it. So I feel like my mentee, like Yair here, he know, like, we going to have real conversations. We going to make this shit uncomfortable, because that's the real world that we live in. Ain't no cookie cutter shit. Bro, nah, bro, you did this. I'm going at you. Because that's how we got to be. I ain't with the soft shit. This shit is for, like, once again, I don't mean to be like this, but this shit is real.
I think it's being receptive as well. With that being said, thick skin, everybody's like, oh, you got to have thick skin to be in this industry. That's a real thing. You have to have thick skin. Your mental has to be in the right place, but being receptive of information. Everything you do is not going to be right, and everything you do is not going to be wrong. And I might say something to you just because I woke up in the wrong mood today. It's not a shot at your character. It's not a shot at what you're capable of doing. It's just you have to be receptive of what's going on. I'm a mother. When I wake up, I have to argue with a 4-year-old. So what I'm not going to do is answer your dumbass question about if I want an aisle or a window seat. It doesn't make sense to me. What do I usually get? You know what I'm saying? Be receptive of that. And I think that people miss that. They get so caught up in emotion rather than logic that they don't look past, like, damn, she said that in that way. But, like, what was the underlying situation here? And just rise above it and be receptive.
But even with, I was told, this happened to me. I wasn't even on the phone call. I wasn't even in the meet. I wasn't even in the state. When I got on the call, they was mad at me and said I should have read the room. I wasn't even there. But me knowing my mentor and knowing the other person, you gotta be on point for some shit you don't even know about. That shit is crazy. But that come with being a good mentor. You just gotta be on point. You gotta know your boss. And you gotta be on it like that. You got, like she said, for you to say you want a window or aisle seat, like she said, what you usually get? What you usually book me? So why are we having this conversation? You feel what I'm saying? But that happens because people be on what they on. You really got to pour into your boss like you would want your boss to pour into you. You got to, before you get served, you have to be a servant.
Damn, that was a bar. That was a bar. What's your question, bro?
Hey, how's it going? So I have like 2 questions. So I wanted to piggyback on like how you said like in 2023, as of right now, like what is a way like a person or individual can be an A&R like in the new day and age?
So we gonna get to the second part of your question too, and I'm glad you said that, because like this is ultimately the point I was trying to make, and I want to get y'all opinion on this. But I feel like in the music industry, like right now, you're not getting no industry job unless you coming in with a play, whether that's a social media platform, some type of community event that you've developed, your own label and ecosystem that you've built out. But I personally think that like versus like submitting a traditional resume like you might have had to do in the 90s, like you had to come with some proof of concept in the form of something tangible. But what do y'all think?
I think exactly what you said, Troy. It's what can I walk in with? In most cases now in the industry, you might want to walk in with an artist. You know, this is what I've developed. This is what I've done over time. The talent speaks for itself. I came up in a way where when people believe in me, they believe in whatever I'm doing. Unfortunately, every part of the industry is not like that. I was just blessed to have those type of people that when I said, hey guys, I have something, people trusted my ear and they trusted my vision. If that's not happening, you have to attach yourself to something that's moving. Even if, you know, you're not the manager, if you're not the day-to-day, if you have some sort of relationship with something that's moving, and we're not talking from an analytical or an algorithm perspective, something that seems like it's going to be bigger than TikTok, be bigger than Instagram, be bigger than social media. You might have 2 of the 5 elements that are necessary, but you need to walk in with something to say, hey guys, who can I use as an example? Like a Tizo touchdown. Like people didn't understand that 2-3 years ago, but 2-3 years ago, his manager believed in his vision and was like, this is what I'm gonna focus in. Now she could walk into any label, any situation and figure it out. And I think it takes something like that where we're putting the work in back in 2018, and in 2018, I walked in Tunji's office and I was like, hey, me and my partner did Dunya, we did Ravina, and we understand this. We know how to make it move. We know the elements to put into this to get it to the next level. We just need your money, honestly. So like, hey, what can we do with that? But that took time. And then however many years later, now I'm in this position, but you got to realize it's not instant either. You got people who've been sitting in the HR pool for the last year, and it takes them knowing Shana Sherman and emailing Shana Sherman and saying, hey, I applied for the job, but here is what I'm doing, and here's what I bring to the table. And then it's like, okay, I think I could do something with that, versus I just need a job. Like, that's cute.
What was the second part to your question, bro?
So I also wanted to ask, like, when doing this for a while, like, when did you know you were on your purpose? You made it, like, I don't hear me. How did you at what point did you know like everything was like clicking or you were on your purpose? Like, when did it hit? Like, you're like, dang, I'm on it.
Shit, you feel that shit in the streets. Like, that's like for us in Philly, you know. That shit popping when that shit is all the little kids dancing to it, every car playing it. So for me being from Philly, I'm like, damn, like I did this shit 3 times in a row. Oh yeah, let me go to New York and get a job. It's that time, because if I could do this in Philly, I know I could do this on a broad level, on a broad scale. But what you just said though. So you talking about the mall, right, with Tizo and Touchdown? I was sleeping on her couch, and she asked me, did I want to co-manage him with Jay Hill and that whole thing? I said no. I didn't see the vision. I'm sick to this day about that.
But I think that like that right there, to answer your question, this shit still don't click for me. But to go back to what you're saying, I think it's understanding what's for you. Like, I'm learning myself in this industry day by day. I'm like learning what I like, what I don't like, what's for me, where I'm swayed too much by somebody else's opinion or position, where it's like, nah, shit, like, it's gonna click for you when you know yourself. Like, shit, I like nice shit. I don't like nice shit because it costs a lot of money. I like nice shit because I like nice shit, right? So with that being said, it's just like having an artist, right? And that artist, you might not like him at all, but when I wake up and I listen to that artist's music, it feels amazing to me. Now I gotta convince everybody in this room that this shit is amazing. I don't need Mont's opinion to do that. I need to do my job. So I think that's when it starts to click, when you're like, you know what, I got something that I believe in it, and I don't care that Mont doesn't want to work with him, and I don't care that Troy doesn't want to work with him. Shayna's gonna do this because I believe in it, and when you have that belief in an artist, in your job, in your vision, then it's gonna go. It might not go to the moon, it might not go to the top when you want it to go to the top, but it's gonna get to the level if you put the work in.
And by the way, like, I know she do and I do. You have, it's, by the way, the shit just like this when you got to present an artist to the label. You know how I feel when you the only person, like, nodding your head, like, but no, I'm telling, like, yeah, like, this shit, you the only one. And you looking around, you like, ain't nobody. Then you just, yeah, look. The next meeting on the Zoom call, you ain't even got your video on. But nah, that's like when I signed the artist Young Chris. No one could tell me nothing about Young Chris. I wanted to do that shit, and I did it. So I feel like with now being an A&R, it's just it's a lifestyle A&R. You got the digital guys. You got. Everybody path is different. So however you get in, but once you get that connect, you gotta hold on to it and nurture that relationship, whoever you building with in the label.
That's real. Hold on one second. What y'all got going on in the, okay, it's a bunch of questions. I wanna hear questions and I wanna know what the audience got going on. And honestly, like, y'all need to take advantage of the fact that y'all got these two people's time right now.
Y'all need to figure the sound out.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay. I'm Joy Simone. Thank you guys so much for everything you've been sharing. I'm super inspired. In this day and age where a lot of artists are purely making their art to go viral or to be a sound on TikTok, XYZ, what wisdom do you have for artists who are doing it for the pure love of the art? And what do you think is the formula for their success nowadays?
I think you gotta do just that. I feel like what they on is what they on, right? I feel like if you're a true artist, I feel like you should stick to what you do. I don't think you gotta, like, you know, merge in somebody else's lane or do a nut ass dance because that's what's working for them. I feel like you should be exactly who you are because we need that. We need more real artists. TikTok shit cool, I like it, but we need real artists to break through. So I say just continue to do what you're doing.
I think you need to figure out which type of artist you want to be. There's C-list celebrities, there's B-list celebrities, there's A-list celebrities. So when you're saying I'm doing this for the pure joy, that means you're okay with not making money and you're okay with performing in front of 30 people. If it's on the subway, if it's at So Far Sounds, you need to understand as an artist, what is okay for you? What is my limit? What is my peak? And where do I want to go? And how far do I want to take it? And I think artists don't think about that in the beginning when they're like, you know, I want a record deal. All right, when you want a record deal, you're saying I want to be a A-list celebrity because if you don't want that, you're going to get dropped. So artists from the beginning need to realize who they want to be in their art.
Or who they are as even a human being. That's the real. That's the what's real about it, because a lot of artists don't even know who they are. Then if they lucky, they get a deal, and then they want you to figure out who they are. I'm just a man. Like, she's just a girl. We don't know. You want to sign to us. So I think that's the thing, too. A lot of artists want to get signed, but then they so inspired by their favorite artist, when they get to the label, then they realize, like, oh, shit. This for real. I got a budget for this. The studio time was $20,000. I gotta pay this. Yeah, it's real. So I feel like even before, like, stepping in that, and it's cool to, like, be a little rapper, but an artist, you should know exactly who you is before you even sign a record deal. And it's cool to grow too.
Hello, everybody. My name is Reese Robinson. I'm a spoken word music artist. Actually, what you said led right into my question. So today I feel like there is a lack of artist development. It's been so many artists that's come out, that's been hot, and then they gone like that. I'm a little older, so I know artists that have had longevity, artists that have been with us forever, and obviously y'all been in the game for so long. So my question to you is, what do you feel about artist development at this point? Because I feel like it's missing from a lot of places. We see artists that's so hot and then they fall off. We see artists that can't do interviews. We see artists that don't got no backstory, that don't really have anything to tell us with their actual albums. Albums don't mean anything anymore. So I'm saying to you as an artist, as well as someone who's interested in bringing artists to the stage, what does A&R mean for artist development today? Does that still exist? Is it a thing? Do artists need to have that before they show up to you, or is that something that you can develop as A&Rs?
So I'm not going to speak on from an A&R lens, but just from an executive standpoint, in my opinion, artists have to take accountability for developing themselves now. And just understanding like the climate that social media has created, the labels are chasing what's next. So they don't have time or the patience to develop that artist from their basement and make them a superstar anymore, because that's not what's keeping the lights on there. And so they're in a rush to sign the next hottest thing. So artists have to, like Mont said, know themselves, know what works for them, and push their own agenda.
Let me reiterate what he said. A label is not for development. I come from development. I love that shit. I love developing artists. But I work at a label, and unfortunately, they don't have the time or the bandwidth to develop an artist. So if that's something you're looking for in a label or looking for when you talk to an A&R, you need to understand you need to take accountability for your development. And with that being said, you need to understand what development looks like for you. It might not be social media, because that might not be who you are as an artist. It might be going to a distribution or an indie label and saying, I need help just for you guys to circulate my music. But here's what I'm going to do on my own. I'm going to take the time to know myself and build out my plan. My partner's in here. She's a creative. I'm a logical person. So she comes with the ideas, and I come with the, all right, girl, but we ain't got the money for that. So with that being said, you need to have both perspectives as an artist to say, all right, during my creative process, I don't have the money to push this shit out with ads, but I know how to get in front of people. You know, and if you know how to get in front of people and you have the resources and the access to do that, then you need to understand what it's like to take those avenues to do so. So there's various different stages of development, and I feel like artists need to honestly understand every single one.
We got another question out here too.
But I think that's an important question. But once again, I feel like it'd be a lot of young kids, right? And I could talk about like my past. You dealing with my past, right? What I dealt with. You dealing with artists that just caught a record. They might have caught a TikTok record. And it's like, I just used to be like, let me sign you. But now what I do, I spend time with the artist. Like, I'm pulling up to the artist's house. I want to meet your mom, your dad. I want to know your habits. You smoke, you drink, because my mistakes before was just signing some hot shit. But when I'm up on you, it's like, oh, you addicted to perks. Oh, this a real? Bro, this bigger than Nino Brown. Like, yeah, like. So for me, when I start to see these things, it's like, oh, this not music. This is like, I'm your therapist. I'm your barber. I'm everything under the sun. It is not fair to the A&R, because 9 out of 10, your homeboy or your homegirl is your manager. She don't know nothing and he don't know nothing. So who they calling? The A&R. It's not fair to us. So for me personally, I gotta meet your mom. I gotta meet your dad. I gotta know if your girlfriend a headache. You might got cut off. You might got cut him off. I don't know. But we gotta figure this shit out because we on a journey together now. And I ain't going for your shit because I already got enough shit of my own. So that's what it is. So when we take on an artist, we're not only taking on you, we taking on your homeboys, your mom, your dad, your girlfriend, your brother. We taking on your whole life, and it's unfair to us because we are human beings. So if the least you could do is have your shit together to help me help you.
That was real. Super real.
Hello. How y'all doing up there?
We can't see you, bro. Come on up.
Look, I'll walk on up.
He look like he already.
So first of all, I want to say thank y'all for even sharing this information with us. But thank y'all. You know what I mean? But my name is Brian Shield. I go by Boss. My homies call me Boss. My Instagram is @executiveBoss. I'm not an actual executive, but I'm speaking into existence. I do have my record label because. Okay, I appreciate it, okay. But I ain't made no money. That's all I'm saying, you know what I mean? Yeah, I ain't made no money, I just spent. Right, and.
I'm just saying that because we gotta stop. It's mindset.
Right.
Before we even do this shit,
Right.
we telling us we not this shit. We
Right,
are that.
right, okay. Appreciate that. Right. So long story short, I got 2 artists I've been working with for the last 3 years. I've been flooding my money into it. I don't listen to no other artists. I wake up every day, I listen to their music. I'm mad because we ain't dropped this and this not going right and this.
That's the number one problem.
But
You gotta listen to other shit to know what works.
Wait, 2, production or management?
both.
You got them in both?
Wait, say it again.
Yeah.
You doing production or
You.
management? Which one?
I'm doing management, not production.
Yeah. Don't put no more money into it till you get them on production.
You're an investor, bro. You lost already.
Right.
You cooked yourself.
What was the rest of your question though?
Basically, my question is, what do I need to do? Like, you know what I mean? I need
So-
to take these artists to y'all.
So look. What I would say though, cause I've been in your situation, bro, and it's something where like, and this is for everybody in the room. Like I manage talent on my own, right?
Right.
So I manage the artists, I manage rappers, I manage R&B singers, but I'm on every record now. I distribute the records through my platform now. You know what I'm saying? Because I got the relationships at the streaming platforms to get them playlisted. Okay. I put my money in the shit. We got the production relationships. Every video is me, etc. And if that's what you on, you deserve to be in on those records. And then what happens is if you putting those records out yourself through TuneCore, through DistroKid, you put your split on it, you get 20%, let them break down to 80%. But now, no matter what, you're going to eat off those songs. Even if they decide to stop making music, if they get depressed, if anything else happens, those songs going to live on in perpetuity. And you should get on that to protect yourself for sure.
Okay.
Talk about it. Talk about it. That number one, here's what you no, because we're going to dig in your ass right now. Here's what we're going to do.
Get on me. Yeah, that's why I'm
because,
here.
because what you
Caught
really
the
need
bus.
to do is learn the business. You need to learn the business. Get on Google a manager. You know what a manager does? Get 20%. They don't spend their money.
Okay.
They don't do that. So you need to understand the business in different roles because if you're spending your money, you need to have them locked into production contracts, not in management contracts. So understand the business, get yourself a lawyer, and protect yourself. Because what you don't need is your artist that you've been working with for 3 years to go find a me and not lock them into something and now you're salty. So understand the business. That's number one. Number one, especially when you're spending your money, you're literally telling us you're broke. Stop. That makes no sense. And there's a lot of this stuff that can be done for free. You know, you don't have to get the unlimited TuneCore. You can just get the basic $9.99 joint and release the project. Right. You know what I'm saying? There's different avenues that you could take, but the first avenue that you need to take is understanding the business for self. For self.
Thank you.
Yeah, bro. First and foremost, stop putting your money up because you're an investor.
Right.
And you ain't getting no that 20%, you might as well forget about it, bro. Because the day, just say you got 3 artists?
2.
2 artists. Just say your artist tomorrow, we say, hey, we want to sign you. We don't got nothing to do with you. We want your artists. We don't got nothing. If they lure you, then they think about giving you your 20%.
Right.
Think about it. They don't have to though.
Right.
Depending on how old they are, it don't matter if they say they want
Yeah.
to or not.
And then you got 2 artists. Bro, you got to break 1. Let's get 1 artist.
Okay.
And production deal. Like you putting all this money out for what? For studio? How old is the artist?
23 and 25.
Nah,
No,
bro.
22 and 25.
You they dad, bro. Nah. We all gotta be Once again, I went to the airport. I figured it. That's what I'm saying. You gotta figure this shit out. They could work at the airport. They could get free flights so y'all all can go mob in Atlanta, wherever y'all need to go.
And you're teaching them to be dependent. Not okay. Because now they're going to have the expectation that moving forward, everything you're handling now, you're going to continue to handle it. I don't want to teach anybody to be dependent on me, because when I walk away from the situation, you're going to have to handle it on your own. So what you need to do is say, hey, you know, you have a single coming up. Of this single, this is what it's going to cost. Put a budget together for your artists so that they know what it costs for them to put their music out. If not, get your production contracts together tomorrow.
Thank you.
And real quick, I suggest all up and coming artists in 18, build y'all personal credit, and then you know what you do with that, y'all can all get together and build your business credit. Then you build your business credit, you get to buy your own studio equipment. One of your homies pay off the studio equipment, then you buy the heat presses for the t-shirt. Now y'all got a merch company.
Right. Now
before y'all even step to the labels, y'all got money flow. Right. Y'all got money coming in. Y'all don't need to depend on nobody for real. Y'all can promote yourself on the internet. Right. Pay influencers. The shit is easy now. It's up. It's free. Go crazy. Right. Ain't nobody holding no information back. We giving this shit to y'all now.
Right.
They can't. So like, the information we wasn't receiving, we're literally here giving it for free. We ain't charge $1 for this shit. You can Google this shit. You can YouTube this shit. It's not a secret no more.
Yeah, because I done bought courses and all type of shit, so.
Yeah, you also walked into a Philly panel too. They got on you, bro. I ain't wanted to.
Hey, I need this. I'm ready. I'm from LA,
for
so I can handle anything. You feel me?
My man, can you pass that to the mic, the mic to the boy behind you right there?
Thank y'all, though.
Oh, yeah. Him with the hat. He got it all figured out.
We got a few more, too.
Nah, I literally was going to elaborate more on why Buddy was cooked. But y'all did that. So thank you for that.
All right, I got you.
All right, what's good? Hey, my name is Isaiah Palmer. I'm a recording artist. So my question for y'all, I had some big wins. I had a couple songs. I got in some Apple Music curated playlist, Brown Sugar playlist. So after having some super big wins, how did y'all regroup and get to that next step? Because y'all felt it y'all real close to that goal. How did y'all regroup and be like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do to get to that next step to really achieve your goals?
What's a super big win?
I mean, in my aspect, just achieving those goals to get to that next step. I guess you could say that. I guess those small wins to get to that next level, things that you maybe have dreamed of, as a kid or some things like that. So the win you was talking about was getting the playlist? Yeah, getting on a different playlist, getting on Apple curated playlist. That was always something I always wanted to achieve, and that happened. I got in that playlist. I was on the Brown Sugar playlist. I was on New and R&B playlist. So after achieving that, what's that next step? You had that song, it did well. How did you guys regroup and be like, all right, how do I get to that next step?
You need to pour into the record. Right? So if you had a record that had motion, that had movement, that somebody at Apple obviously believed in, you need to pour into that record and take the next step to get it to more playlists. I live in a space where I'm playlists only do but so much, but that is a big win. Especially as an independent artist, that is a big win. But how do I get on more playlists, and how do I get those fans that exist on those playlists to come back and follow my page, like my song, and add it to their playlist? So I think from that perspective, you need to figure out whatever fans exist on Brown Sugar and the other playlists that you were in, you need to figure out how to tap directly into them. And when I say tap directly into them, Spotify gives you all your algorithms. They tell you exactly where your listeners are coming from. You need to go figure out where they're from, what state, what city, and go tap into them directly.
Yeah, because the playlist is not all it's cracked up to be. Like, it looks good, it makes us feel good because it boosts the numbers, but that has no correlation with true fandom. Can I get a hand raise? Like, is there anybody else with questions in the room? All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we're going to get to the music and the drinks after this, too. I appreciate y'all patience. Y'all, like, been like a really great audience, but.
Hi, my name is Ashaki, and I'm a singer-songwriter, and I'm also a voice actress. And I'm an artist that want to tell you what I have going on. I am an A-list artist. I am the full package, and I've been doing this for a very long time. I direct all of my videos. I design all the clothes. I do the makeup. I have my own entertainment company. I book the studios, produce the videos, edit the videos. So I feel like I'm at that place in my career where I put out songs, videos, they do well, and I put a lot of money into them, promoting them, marketing them, but I feel like I get to a stop where I feel like I'm at a place where I need a team that believes in me, that can see the vision and help take me to the next level. So, and I'm also a voice actress in SAG, and I do a lot of, commercials, video games, like the whole thing. So I feel like for me, I'm ready to sit down and have a meeting.
Okay. I think the voice acting thing is dope real quick. So, like, if you could get, like, a Frozen, you know what I'm saying, and you end up being on Let It Go, I feel like that's a lane that, like, so many people sleep on. And, like, I think you should pursue to the furthest extent. And then just based on what you just said to us, my initial reaction is, like, you should build a team and, like, relinquish some of that control. You know what I mean? Like, you got to also have a team that you trust because, respectfully, like, you can't be the best at every single thing. You know what I mean? And so you got to understand that, like, in order to avoid burnout, you're going to have to let other people in.
Yeah, you're going to wear yourself thin doing everything. So you might want to take a step back from some of it, but it is amazing that you have the bandwidth to do it. But with that being said, that voice actress, first of all, I can hear your voice now. I'm like, hey, shit, she sound good. She sound like she on the phone saying something. So with that being said, you need to delve into publishing or sync, into the sync world. There's sync companies that exist. I know that there are companies that are out there just looking for music for playlists, like for Starbucks, for TJ Maxx, for Nordstrom. Like, those companies exist. You have to do the research to get to them, but if you live in that world, syncs would be your best point of entry. The records that you have, you need to figure out which ones are syncable and send them to every single sync company and say, this is what I have, and I think that this can exist here. If that's your strong point. I don't know if it's your strong point or not, but if it is, then you should lead with that because that's something that a lot of artists are missing. A lot of artists create for themselves and they don't create for movies or commercials. That's the best point of entry. Do something nobody else is doing.
I've had some placements with a BT movie. I had a song in that. I've had placements with another show on TV One. And I constantly audition for animation and all that stuff. But for me personally, I want a record deal. I want to go to the top. So, no. I do. Why would you say no?
Here's why I'm gonna say no, right? Because you're building your vision right now, but what the major labels are looking for in an artist, it has the tendency to break you down and be like, why the fuck am I even here? Right? So unless you're willing to conform to exactly what these labels want, and I'm one of those people, I argue with my boss, my coworkers is in here, they know I'll be looking at them like, that's not what my artist does. Well, they need to do this in order. If you're not willing to conform or willing to do that, then the major might not be your point of entry. But an indie might. An Empire exists, a STEM exists, a Venice exists. All of these other places exist for artists who live in a pocket that want to control the creative and control their art. But a major,
To Shana's point, any independent artist out there looking to get your music distributed at the highest level, please check out Venice Music Co. Yeah! We got Donovan in the building. Let's make some noise for Venice. All right, I love it. Any more?
All right, you're gonna be our last one.
All right, last two right here. And you gotta ask Shana your question.
Yeah, my name's Kevin Alexander. I work at Universal Music right now, and I've been having a mentor over the last year or so. And in our conversations in regard to A&R, we often talk about how the career is, or your longevity in the career is as long as pretty much you're able to spot hits and service your artist well, right? And basically, once you start going cold, you're done. So my question to you is, how do you keep from going cold, and where are you looking, essentially?
Yeah, who told you that?
Who told me that?
Who told you that?
Evan Lamberg.
Evan?
Yeah.
Call Evan. Get him on the phone.
Yeah.
Call him.
Right now?
Shit, he the one who said it?
He did, yeah.
I don't believe that, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion, right? Sure. For me, some days I wake up and I'm like, damn, why did I sign the artist I signed? Other days I wake up and I'm like, damn, am I going to lose my job tomorrow because they're not creating hits? That's not how this shit works. Like, honestly, it's not how it works.
I'll just say, we were talking specifically about publishing in that conversation, and it might
I
not
don't live in that
generally
world. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't live in the publishing world, but I think as an A&R in any avenue at any company, I believe you are as good as your last hit, just like the artist is, but you put the work in. Like, we put out a song, right? But you do realize we got to go through the clearance process. We got to get the clearance in-house. We got to get the mix and the master done. We got to go back and get the mix and the master done 30 more times after that. We get told that that's not the record. We got to go back in the studio and recreate. We got to find another writer and find another producer to reproduce the record. We got to find the sample because samples are in right now. We got to clear the sample. We got to talk to the old artists to see if they're going to give us the sample. There is so much more than us just putting out that record. So I think it's like, if you understand the A&R job as a whole, where we're sitting here, it's like every day I wake up and I'm like, did I get the checklist? Did I get the checklist? Did I get the checklist? It's more than that hit that you think is a hit, because I have 3 more albums planned on one artist, and 2 of those albums might not be the albums, but the last album might be the album. So,
all right. I was gonna say, on top of that, like, that's just the one record. And then, not to mention, if it's a street artist, you might got to put out 1,000 fires with the street artist, because he might be into the streets. He might be a gangbanger, or he might be this. Or there's a lot that come with it. But to answer your question, I don't know who told you that, but that's whoever Evan is. And it might be for the publishing, but I know for like us, we on salary, so it ain't about one record.
And like, lastly, just for like all my young boys who are in here, I think it's like impractical to think you're never gonna go cold. You know what I'm saying? And like that's different for everybody, but nobody stays at their peak moment their whole career. You know what I'm saying? Like, even Adele right now, she's not as hot as she was when Fire to the Rain dropped. You know what I mean? So it's understanding like every artist's arc is different, and as a manager, executive, artist, whatever, you have to embrace that and understand what your evolution over your career looks like. And I think like one thing that music has showed us is like the blueprint is you start as an artist, you get in a product, and then once that product is successful, you become an investor. You know what I mean? And so when you look at Rihanna, Jay-Z, Kanye West, like these people are making far more from their products and their investments than they ever did from their art. You know what I mean? So I think we just have to take a step back and be practical about what that even means. But we're gonna wrap it up and get to the next question over here.
Yeah, last question. My name is Johnny. I'm a producer by trade. I was wondering, in your respective roles as an A&R, do you have any checklists or any formulaic kind of methods that you use to get an artist popping in your lane?
Let me start. Because this is also like a reason I wanted to have these people up here, because I feel like when it come to artists, like taking over your region is a lost art. Like everybody want to go viral now on TikTok, but it's like nobody knows you where you're from. So when people go to fact check your situation, it's not as real, you know what I mean? So like, that's just my personal preference, because I believe in hometown heroes, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm from Philadelphia, where Meek had Philly on smash before the world knew about him. And then, you know, Mont brings up Jack Harlow, and he had a crazy moment with What's Poppin', but I knew about Jack Harlow 5 years before that from every single mixtape he put out. And like when you ask Kentucky about him and what he means, it's undeniable. You know what I mean? Like, so in my opinion, an artist like that can never fall off because of the base they built. So like at the very least, when it comes to formulas and playbooks, it's like get your city behind you. You know what I mean? Like if nothing else.
I think the reverse of their logic, and I have my reasons. I do. You know I do. Don't nobody know me in fucking Philly and Bluebell. They know me in New York and California and Atlanta. If I go back home, they're going to be like, girl, who is it? So I honestly do believe the reverse, and I think challenging different logics is fine because that's how you grow as a producer and an artist. Sometimes home doesn't feel you. Uzi wasn't felt until he left. Fact.
All right.
He wasn't felt until he left. Philly didn't understand the nail polish. They didn't understand the perm. They didn't like it. Yeah. So for me, like I could just speak to myself. When I was younger, my dad sent me to every single country and said, America is not it for you. There's a world outside of here. So being able to experience that as a child and growing up, and I'm like, if I could touch somebody everywhere and they could feel me everywhere, what does it matter if they feel me at home or not? I'm felt in different places. Same for an artist.
I think like once again, every A&R is different, right? So, you know, she was blessed to travel the world. We was in Philly on the corner. So, like, in order to, like, you gotta have your city on lock. And that's the way I A&R. I wanna come to your neighborhood. I wanna see if the 10 block radius, do they got your t-shirts on? She got artists right now in Philly. Like, if you go to Philly, they shit playing on the radio right now. Yeah, but Armani come from under me, so I knew Armani because he was outside. Like, the whole Philly didn't know Armani White.
Even he was grassroots, though.
Yeah, he was grassroots, though. But I understand your point. He caught a massive record that the world couldn't deny. But he said Meek Mills. Meek was outside, dirty, with the braids. We know him. He was the hometown hero. So if you really ain't that in your city, for me, it's going to be kind of like hard to maneuver you around, especially if you're a street artist, because we got to go to every other hood. That's what I'm saying. Armani don't got to go to the hood. But like for the street rappers, we got to go tap in and hopefully the stuff you rapping about, it better check out. Because you're going to get tested too. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is the raw shit. Like, this ain't the cookie cutter. No, you're going to get checked. And you might got to fight. Shit might happen. You might got to pop off. That's just what this shit is, though. It's rap music. It's hip-hop. This what people signing up for, and it's the real. This what we go through. She a female in this shit. And if something pop off, she with it. It is what it is. We in them we pull up together, we lead together. That's just how this shit go. So for me, when I'm dealing with an artist, I need to know it's official because this is a real industry. The streets, the industry is all intertwined. It's the same shit. It just got to check out.
All right. Yo, thank y'all so much for being a part of this conversation, for coming out. Like, this was amazing. Y'all a beautiful audience. Thank you so much to the Neuhaus for hosting this, and honestly, thank you to Zandy Brockett as well for genuinely caring about our culture and the conversations that it takes to push this culture forward. Please get to know one another, have a drink, enjoy the rest of your time here, but that's the end of this panel, y'all.
Hey, Troy, stay there for a second, please.
Duty Booty, can you come to the front and see mommy? My sticky butt. It's time to go home.
He's somewhere running this.
He's running around here. No.
There you go.
Where?
Hold on, we're going to wait 1 second. Come on, y'all trying to flick up? You're going to get in our pick. You ready? It ain't break.